Something just went crashing through the woods over there on this side. Kind of sounded like a deer with how fast it was moving, but you never know. Today I'm out here hiking a trail I've never done before. This is in the Ashmore Heritage Preserve, and it is called Green Mountain, High Rock, and Wattacoo Lake. Now on paper, this hike sounds perfect. Saturday morning, 4.9 miles, a lake, a mountain or two. But today I have 3 objectives for this hike. First one being, I got to get this done before I got to head to my second job. Then the other one is to get up to High Rock Overlook and get a view of what it looks like from up there. The third one, I'm going to have to tell you in a little bit. I got to get my pack on and head down this trail. Water crossing. Bridge. It looks like they both end up at the same place. But we need to check our handy dandy all trails. Right here, looks like we turn right, which would mean we get bridge. Right here, I don't know if you can see these, but right here are leaves floating in outer space. That is not a magic trick. That just means there's a ton of spider webs holding them up. So unless you want them on your face, you need to take precautions. So, like I said, looks like both of these trails, both the water crossing and the bridge, take you to the same spot. Now, here we have trail going that way, trail going that way. So, I'm going to turn you to the right. See this little arrow right there is pointing left. You look right here, we have orange, white. That's 2 blazes. Orange right there, and I don't know if you can see it, but orange in the distance over there on that tree. So that's the trail that we're really on. That's the way we're gonna go. We're officially on trail. But while I was reading the reviews for this trail, I read the dreaded words that almost no one wants to hear, and those are wild hogs. And it even said they approached us. So the goal number 3 for this trail is making sure we don't have any altercations with wild hogs. So needless to say, I brought a few pricklier items just in case we run into something like that. So hopefully out on these streets we don't run into anything crazy. This is part of the Ashmore Heritage Preserve, someplace that I haven't hiked before at all. So this is definitely going to be very interesting. Something completely new. Looks like we have an orange blaze on this trail. And first thing we come to looks like a fire road going down that way. But this thing right here behind me is a bat roost. So I've seen a few of these. One of them is at Beach Bottom Falls, and right up, see if I can show it to you, right up there is where the bats would enter and have a place to sleep at night. So think of it as like a little bat hotel. But that's enough gum flapping. We got to get on the move. We have 4.9 miles to do today total. And like I said, we're trying to get up there to that high rock overlook. And that means we ain't got time to waste. Carry on. So we're coming up here. The humidity is off the charts. So we have the intersection of several fire roads. Looks like there's one that goes up there. I think that's the one that we're going to be coming back down. I'm not sure. There's another one here. But we have to go up this one right here. And so far, we're about 0.57 miles in. And I haven't seen anything with tusks yet. So everything's good at the moment. We're continuing on. How does it already say that we've hit 10 flights of stairs already? It's only been like 2 seconds. But man, are we going up. I'm gonna have to put these trekking poles in for low. Now, one thing I love about exploring new trails is finding out what they all have to offer. Some have waterfalls, some have mountains, and some supposedly have wild hogs. And this right here is not some shaky footage I'm after. Looking for a blurry Sasquatch. We're actually keeping our eyes open for something. That noise right there, I don't know if you can hear it, is a big old hawk that just, I think, flew out of the nest. He's keeping an eye on us. We better keep moving. Definitely one of my favorite things in the world is the sunrise over the mountains. That is just where we came up, right there. And that is where we're going. And we have that beauty right there saying hi to us, telling us what time it is. Time to get up the mountain, fool. Now, one thing I can promise you is, at my age, there's one thing you get really good at, and that's paying attention. So, out on this trail, the one thing I'm keeping in mind is awareness is your first line of defense, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know what a wild hog sounds like, but I'm sure they probably sound something like what our crazy armadillos sound like, just crashing through the woods. Crazy thing is, that's also what a bear sounds like. Just ask me and my buddy Mike when we're out there on the Foothills Trail. But I'm just keeping my eyes and ears around me, making sure nothing unwelcome pops out. Dude, look behind us. I don't know if you can see out there, but you can see the fog over the mountains. Probably my second most favorite thing out on the trail is seeing the fog, the sun just lighting it up, knowing that soon the sun is going to warm up enough to burn that fog off. So we're still continuing on, keeping our eyes open, if you know what I'm saying. So we're coming up here to kind of a crest in the trail, place we can kind of get a wider view. And this little flower right here is, if I remember right, wild sweet potato. that is pretty cool. You can tell because inside there you see that magenta purple color. That is absolutely beautiful. Look at this terrain right here. Just incredible. Goes all the way down there. Quiet mountains in the distance. Sun just starting to come up. Man, it's one of those places you could get lost in right here. Just phenomenal. I thank God for this type of terrain in this area, because without it, I'd have to move somewhere else. And this little beauty right here, wild hydrangea. Just so cool. Right now we're coming down to our second water crossing. Remember, the first one, we took the bridge. This one we're coming down to looks pretty muddy. I don't know if we should look for some wild hog footprints. I don't know if I could say that I'm a footprint expert. That's for sure. But that's the water crossing right there. Right now, we're on what I would call the panhandle part. We're not on the loop, so we went along one side of the loop, heading up to the panhandle section, to High Rock Overlook. Oh man, look up there. So, down here, we went down into a ravine. That's where the water crossing is. And now, we get to pay for it. We're heading up this way. We should be coming back down this way when we come from the High Rock Overlook. Here's probably the last water crossing. So I think this is number 3, and this is right before we get to the High Rock Overlook. So somebody said, make sure you bring waterproof shoes. So far, I don't think I needed them because the water really isn't that deep. And the first one that was deeper, had rocks that you could step on going into it or going across it. But you had to take the bridge right next to it, so you wouldn't even have to go across that. Continuing on, we're almost there to High Rock Overlook, y'all. Oh, you know, this is exactly what I love to see when I get to the best part of the hike. A stupid fence or gate. Let's see what that sign says right there. Foot traffic only. Alright, we're good. I was like, I am not about to come all the way up here and then be told I can't go the rest of the way. Alright, so we should be right here near this overlook. I'm going to have to pull the old all trails and see where the heck we're supposed to go, because we can go left or we can go right here. Let's see what we got. Go by all trails. I don't know if you can see that, but it says go left. So as soon as you reach the fire gate, you're going to turn left. So here's an interesting development. There's our second fire gate right there. And that would appear to be a sign that says no trespassing. But looks like plenty of people have been trespassing. So it could be that this goes along some private land and that is the no trespassing section. We're going to hope and pray that's what it means, because I do not want to be caught out here going in somebody else's property. It says we have 0.4 miles left until we reach the High Rock Overlook, and I'm keeping an eye on my water sources, mainly because in case I need some I have my water filter, and I've got about half a liter of water on board, but just in case I need to get some more, because I'll tell you right now, this shirt is soaked. Like, I'm sweating in 10 different languages. So, in case we need some, I've got my salt electrolyte capsules and water filter. One thing I've learned is you never go anywhere without that thing in the woods. So you never know when you're going to need more water than you thought or that you planned. And this right here is our second objective. High Rock Overlook. Absolutely incredible. I haven't even gotten out here yet. Look at this. Dude. It's unbelievable. Holy crap. That is unreal. You can probably see the whole state from here. Golly. And that right there, my friends, is the trail. So right now it is, let's check the time. We started 7:49. So I think we're going to make it as far as time. That's the first objective. Second objective is come to this outlook that we're standing on right now. And third objective is not to get any tickling by wild hogs. Man, you just got to stand here and take this view in. Wow. It's absolutely silent except for the birds. Now, as luck would have it, we can't fly our drone here because of the peregrine falcon population. So, if it weren't for that, you guarantee that thing would be in the air right now. This is absolutely phenomenal. Like, just the most humongous flat rock out here. It's just like you could just fly off into space. I don't know if you can see all that view behind me. Absolutely mind-blowing. It's so mind-blowing that you can lose your undergarments out here in the woods. I'm not going to lose my undergarments, but just saying. So, we're able to spend the most beautiful morning out here. Just phenomenal. The birds are out here. You can hear them in the distance in the trees. Good Lord. Absolutely incredible. Now, hopefully you can still see me. One thing that this trail does is it kind of reminds me of Cedar Rock Trail, that the first half or better of that trail is straight up. So the one thing that you're going to find out is that it's going to burn. It's going to burn. You feel me? So what that means is you better have your trekking poles, put them in 4 low, and you're going to be walking up the mountain like a son of a gun. So it is not easy, the first part of this trail. Now, as you guys know, I'm like a 9-round kickboxing junkie, right? Best thing in the world. And the one thing that it strengthens as my Seagung used to say, my professor, Anthony Young, from Young's Kajubi, he used to say that this section right here is the weakest part of your body, the weakest muscle in your body. And so when you're doing your kicking and fighting, it strengthens that muscle, which when you come out here to hike, I've definitely noticed a humongous difference when it comes to fitness, being able to run up a mountain, run down a mountain. It's just invaluable. You just can't put it into words how much difference it makes. But we're just going to continue walking around, exploring up here on High Rock Overlook. Man, look behind me. That is just incredible. Like, oh man, that is just, you can't beat that, son. Over there in the distance, you can see what's called radiation fog. That's the fog that's down in the valleys and the hollows, that they would call it in places like Virginia, Kentucky, West Virginia. They call it the holler. But that's where the bodies of water and the moisture would tend to congregate and stay longer down in those valleys. And behind me over there, you're going to see that the sun is coming up still. And that is what's going to burn off all of that fog in the mountains. All right, y'all. So we've made it up here to High Rock Overlook. We've overlooked, and now we've got to head back down the trail. The next stop is going to be that Wattacoo Lake or whatever it's called. So hopefully we've achieved our time goal. We've achieved our second goal, which is this overlook right here. Can't fly the drone, like I said, because the peregrine falcons are supposed to be nesting and flying around here. So we're going to leave them alone. But objective number 3 is not to get attacked by these wild hogs. So we're still keeping an eye out for them. We're going to get the pack on, get everything loaded up, and head down the trail. We should go back down, so it's going to be mostly down. That means quads are going to be burning, but we're heading down to go around the loop at the Wattacoo Lake, and we'll be done. All right, we're saying goodbye to our little view and heading down the trail. Look at that, boy. Look at the leaves. That is just beautiful. I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like a violet, but those leaves are quite different. Now, this hike is not over by any means. We still have the potential of seeing some of these hogs I'm keeping my eyes open for. Now, one of the other reviews, well, I guess I should say several of the other reviews said that this trail is very buggy. Now, if you know anything about South Carolina, what do you expect a trail to be like? They're not going to come out here and spray for bugs, right? It's not going to be your plush green golf course backyard where, you know, you have people that come out and spray for bugs. So, you've got to prepare and expect that there's going to be bugs out here. This is my 2 cents, right? So, bugs are frequently tickling in my ear canals. I don't know what they are, because you got to shoo them away quick, because they'll drive you crazy. But that's part of the excitement, part of that type 2 fun that we love so much here on Run Hike Vanlife, right? That's just part of it. So we're continuing on. Eyes are still open. Head is on a swivel, just like this gimbal on the camera. One thing you may notice is today I'm not really pointing out every mushroom that I find like I normally would. And that is mainly because we got time to meet. We got a time to beat on this trail that we're doing. We have a schedule to keep, I guess I should say. Now, we are moving right along. I would imagine, let me tilt this up a little bit, that we're not going to see a soul on this trail. Typically, the hard ones or super hard ones, you don't see many people on them. And that may be what lends itself to the hog population getting out of control out here. So, right now it says we have 0.8 miles left before we have a sharp left. This is going to take us to that Lake Wattacoo or Wattacoo or something like that. But I want to go over with you a little question. That question is, how do I know? Right here it says 1.97 miles remaining. How do I know if I'm going to beat my time goal? So my time goal is, if you notice up here in the top left, it says it's 8:34 a.m. My time goal is I need to make it by 9:45. I need to be done. So if you look right here, my average speed is 2 miles per hour. So what that means is we have, if we maintain the same speed, 2 miles per hour roughly, and we have 1.96 miles to go, that means we have 1 hour left, as long as our speed remains constant. So that means we should be done by 8:34, 8:35, somewhere in that neighborhood, unless we speed up, which we probably will, because the rest of the trail is pretty level. It's not like going uphill. So just kind of giving you a little insight into how you can gauge how long a trail is going to take. So one thing that you're going to want to do is you keep track over time. The more hikes that you do, the more uphill, the more downhill, you'll kind of get a gauge of your typical speed through the woods. And then that allows you to kind of pre-measure, pre-calculate how long it's going to take to go down any one trail. Something just went crashing through the woods over there on this side. Kind of sounded like a deer with how fast it was moving, but you never know. It's one thing you can't be too sure of until you get your eyes on whatever it was. We're still keeping our eyes very open and our ears, because dude, that thing was moving fast, whatever it was. It definitely heard me. I wasn't really making any noise either. It's somewhere over there. Let's see if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that right there, but that right there is a hoof print. You look right here, there's another one. So, mud, hoof prints, water, we had the perfect ingredients, I think. I'm not a wild boar expert or anything, but I think this is the perfect ingredients for finding them. No, I'm not trying to find them. I'm trying to avoid them. This is not National Geographic, y'all. Okay, I don't know if y'all remember this, but this is that intersection that we came up at the beginning, towards the beginning, where we went up that way to go to High Rock Overlook. Now we're going to turn left. As we come back down, we're going to turn left. This is going to take us around Lake Wattacoo. So let's go see what that looks like. We've got about 1 mile left on the hike, and we should be done. Heading down towards the lake, what we have is some very slick 2-inch gravel, like basically rocks that you're bouncing down. You will lose your footing, so you need to be careful. So walking back up that way, I passed a dude and he just came out of nowhere. So I don't know if I think he was coming up this trail here, so going around the lake the opposite direction I'm going, but he just came out of nowhere. So apparently several hikers have had run-ins with wild hogs out on this trail, and hopefully I'm not one of them. I don't know anything about fighting a wild hog, but I do know that, as some would say, they're known to be very mean. And so am I. That's all I know. Got another water crossing right here, but there are plenty of rocks to step on, no problem. But we're getting very close to the lake because I can see it through the trees over in that direction. So we will be viewing the water shortly. So this is our view, y'all. Right here is the mountain. This is where we came down. This is the trail right here. But look at this view right here. Unbelievable. Flowers everywhere. Unfortunately, there's a sign that says keep out sensitive natural habitat. This right here, sign on the tree says stay on trail, don't be a meadow stomper. I can see butterflies all through there. Man, look at this. This is just a view out of a painting right here. Again, this is peregrine falcon protected area, so we can't fly the drone. I can hear what seems to be a waterfall coming from somewhere up there, and there is supposed to be a waterfall up there, but we don't have time to monkey around. We are heading down the trail. Supposedly we're about 0.8 miles from the car, and that is going to put us at exactly almost 9:30. There's the old trekking poles, and we definitely needed to get through this trail. That is paradise right over there. You can hear the bullfrogs over in that direction. I don't know if they're bullfrogs. We're not gonna go look. Continuing on, y'all. Again, sign, natural habitat. Right now, this is Lake Wattacoo Dam. So this is how all this water got here to make this lake absolutely pristine and just serene. Oh, we actually have some people coming down. Actual people. Man, look at the plants around this area. Mind blowing. Absolutely beautiful. But this is Lake Wattacoo. And honestly, I had no idea a place like this was hiding back here. It is just amazing how many incredible places that you can find right in your own backyard. Now, so far, I haven't seen any hogs yet. But we still got a little bit of trail left. And according to the reviews, this is about where people started encountering them. So we got to keep our eyes and ears open still all the way to the end, I guess. Now, if you followed this channel for any length of time, you know I love finding places like this. Places that make you stop, take a breath, and remember that there's still plenty of nature and adventure left in life, even after you reach 50. I do have to admit, every time I hear something moving in the woods today, I find myself wondering, is that it? Is that what we're trying to escape and avoid? That up there is where we just were. Way up there. I don't know if you can see the little fish in the water right there. And the frogs way over there. And the trail right here, which is almost invisible. Like you barely even know this trail's here. But we're almost to the car, y'all. Here we go. So this here may be the 5th water crossing right here. And if I'm looking right over there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's the green bridge. And I think that's the one that we went over at the beginning. So we can check our all trails. Right here it says we're only like a couple feet away from the car. So it says right here, slight left. We only have 0.37 remaining. So for all intents and purposes, we have made it. Right there, I don't know if you can see it, but is a millipede the size of a horse. Doesn't matter, we are carrying on. We ain't got time for that. So here we are, coming up onto the road, and the car should be up this way. Right now, it is 9:34 a.m., which means we nailed our time goal. We also saw Lake Wattacoo. That is goal number 2. So we made it, y'all. We finally got up here. Mini Whip is in the background, and we are heading to our Saturday job we need to do. We made our time goal, 9:37 a.m. That was checked on all trails. That kept us on trail. There was only one place where I kind of veered off, but came right back, still made it on time. So we made our time goal. We made our goal for reaching Lake Wattacoo, and we didn't see any hogs today. That was what I was kind of not really worried about, but a little anxious about. So as I'm sure you might have guessed, I'm perfectly fine without seeing any hogs today. I can watch them on Discovery Channel or something like that, but I'd rather not see them like right on alongside one of these narrow trails. But that is one thing about adventures. Sometimes you come home with a great story. Sometimes it's just kind of, I went down the trail and came back. But maybe those hogs are down there waiting for them other people that we passed. So right now, I've got to head over here very close by to Cleveland, South Carolina. And I hate to do a hike when I'm pressed for time, but at least today I was able to get out here, do something that I was made to do, and that is get down the trail, filming it, showing you guys what South Carolina has to offer. And this place right here, that is Ashmore Heritage Preserve, is one of those hidden gems that I love to find. So this right here definitely got 5 stars for me on all trails. I didn't put on there any swashbuckling, scenes or anything, gore and destruction, but that may come with another episode. So follow along. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe if you like this kind of thing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.